ニゲーミングこうよアニよ楽しい冒険スタートだ
Welcome to Annie Gaming episode 28. Justin here. Welcome to oldtacosandgeeks.com. And today, my friends, we are back in the PlayStation 1 era. And I want to talk about a Japan exclusive Dragon Ball game, my friends. And this game holds a special place in my heart because it's not only my favorite Dragon Ball game that's on the PlayStation 1, but this was the second Dragon Ball game I ever played, to be honest with you. And I used to go over my brother's friend's house because he had what we used to call, especially on the block, a chipped PS1. And what they used to call chip back in the days was like your PlayStation was modified to play region locked games, or because your PlayStation 1, the actual PlayStation 1 wasn't region free. So when you chipped your PlayStation, it made it region unlocked, so you can play any game, as long as you had the disc. And my friend had legit copies. He purchased them. I think his dad at the time like purchased a bunch of import games and things of that nature. So he purchased like a whole bunch of import anime games. And Dragon Ball The Legend was the one we used to constantly play. I used to kind of borrow from him until I got my own chipped PlayStation game. But unlike his, my chipped PlayStation game I forgot what the product was. But if you do remember this, please leave it in the comment section. Let me just explain real quick. So the whole concept was you had to open up your PlayStation 1, and this product, you had to put like this little cardboard under the slot where you press the open button that kept the open button open. Then you had to put in the disc, the CD with it, and then it converted your PlayStation to the region that you want to play, and then you just play the Japanese game open. Like you literally see your PlayStation open, the game spinning as you're playing the Japanese game. And I had so much fun playing this game. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it. I just want to give a shout out to my Queens people because I'm a Queens boy from New York. So if you grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, then you know about Gertz Mall on the Jamaica Avenue on the Ave. So you know all about that. So shout out to my Queens people out there. But when we talk about Dragon Ball video games, certain titles dominate the conversation. Of course, Budokai trilogy for the PlayStation 2. Then you got Tenkaichi. And then, of course, you have the brilliant Dragon Ball FighterZ. But tucked between that PlayStation 1 era was this little 16-bit 2D era type of game, which mixed, I would say 2.5D, Dragon Ball The Legend, which was released in 1996 for the PlayStation and Sega Saturn. Excuse me, it was also for the Saturn, I forgot. And this oddball entry dared to reimagine Dragon Ball, but not as a traditional fighting game, but as something closer to a team-based aerial skirmish. So in the mid 1990s, Bandai was aggressively pushing Dragon Ball into the 32-bit console generation. To handle that transition, the development was handled to BEC, which is Bandai's entertainment company, known for its anime tie-in games and the ever-busy support of the studio Tosei. The design brief was different from anything that the series had seen before. Rather than simply upgrading the Super Buten formula and having more prettier sprites, the developers wanted to capture the chaos of the DBZ aerial team battles, and the anime was filled with swarms of characters fighting simultaneously, energy beams crisscrossing the sky, and sudden momentum swings. And the legend was built to replicate that, not just for one-on-one duels. And Japan received the game on May 31st, 1996, exclusively for the PlayStation. And a few months later, the Sega Saturn version came across Europe, though only in France, Portugal, and Spain. The lack of a US release left it largely unknown in the North America, though import magazines praised its ambition. Interestingly enough, despite the similar name, the game wasn't a direct sequel to the PC engines of the game. Still, both shared a narrative structure and an interest presenting the Dragon Ball Z as a sweeping saga rather than just isolated matches. So let's talk about the story mode. So the story mode does a great job of covering the entire Dragon Ball saga. And it's packed with basically from the Saiyan saga, Frieza saga, to androids, cell games, and the Buu arc. And the game condensed hundreds of episodes into this lean frame rate of battles. And each scenario is set up with a simple kind of comic book style, manga style, still image presentation, and then it's on to the players to carry out the legendary battles. The roster is generous with over 35 characters, including form variations that some of you have to secretly unlock, and you're encouraged to pick teams that fit the scenario. Want to pick the Ginyu Force versus Piccolo, Goku, and Vegeta? Go ahead. Or swamp in unexpected fighters and see how the story flows adjust. The system rewards players for sticking to the canon, which I'll explain when I do the Frieza Saga level and outcomes, but doesn't punish experimentation. Sorry, given the story replay value beyond a one and done tour. For fans in 1996, having the entire Z Saga is one game was a revelation. And if you play the game, which you'll see when I do the Frieza Saga, it rewarded you when you. So, for example, I'll spoil it. So, in order to lock Super Saiyan Goku in this game, when you play this Frieza Saga, Krillin has to die. Like you purposely have to lose as Krillin in order for Goku to transform to Super Saiyan. That shit was fire. And they had this great kind of spectator mode where you just watch how the other characters are reacting to the battle. So press and select when you like the selection of the player that you want to use, you can just have the computer whip your ass and watch the reaction so you can literally visibly see like Goku or Vegeta or Piccolo or whoever saga you're in get visibly concerned or pissed off that their friend is getting their ass kicked. It is just at that time that was just very innovative, and to this day it's one of my favorite features in all of the Dragon Ball games. And now in terms of gameplay, it kind of had like this tug of war type of scenario. The most distinctive feature about Dragon Ball The Legend is its power balance system. Instead of health bars, every blow pushes a meter towards your team's side. Land a fury of rush attacks, connect with a beam, or coordinate with your allies, and you'll swing the momentum. Fill the momentum quickly in the meter quickly, and you unleash a meteor attack, a cinematic finisher that hammers home the scale of Dragon Ball's combat. So, for example, in the story mode, your objective will be to get to all the way to the blue, and you'll be able to see like a Kameyama blast, a Big Bang attack, or a Maseko attack, and things of that nature. And the design choice fundamentally changes how the fights play out. It's not about just winding down a single opponent's health, it's about managing team coordination and momentum, because other key gameplay elements include the team size, up to 3 fighters per side active at once, with the ability to tag and switch your teammates at will. Then you have this mid-air freedom as the battle are less about ground-based duels and more about soaring, chasing, and intercepting in open spaces. There's some really simple inputs and some tactical depth as well, because there's some basic combos. You can charge your key shots, and directional attacks are easy to execute, but mastering spacing and timing is key to dominating the balance meter. And on hard mode, it does get hard. You got to be really good when it comes to just defense and reversing moves and just really grounding, pounding your enemy. And then, of course, you have the battle mode, an unlockable gauntlet that provides a challenge and longevity after you clear the campaign. Critics at the time sometimes dismissed this as a too simple, but compared to the traditional fighters at the time, the system deserves recognition as it was an early attempt at that asymmetrical team focused combat years before we got it in the Tenkaichi series and before that normalized it. Graphics. Now, on the technical standpoint, this is a combination of 2D sprites and 3D areas. Characters were large, colorful, and expressive, while the environment zoomed and shifted to track the action going on. So it had a real kind of cinematic camera approach to it. It was ambitious for its visual styles at the time, and that gave players that more cinematic flair. Fighters will close in with sudden rushes, beams will stretch across the battlefield, and the camera tried to capture the chaos. That said, the graphics were also a product of this time. There was a lot of pixelation, some noticeable and blending of the 2D and 3D wasn't always seamless, and the Sega Saturn version was often considered the superior port with cleaner sprite handling and smoother performance, while the PlayStation version was a little rough around the edges. Never played the Saturn version. I'm gonna actually try to find it, see if to do maybe I'll down the line I'll do another comparison video with it. But yeah, I thought for me at that time this was just a gorgeous looking game. It's still, like I said, it's still my favorite Dragon Ball Z game of the PlayStation 1 era. Music wise, love the music of this because Kenji Yamamoto provided the score, and he delivers this high energy tracks that echoes the anime's intensity. The game soundtrack was released on CD, believe it or not, by Columbia in August 1996, and it had complete vocal contributions as well. Of course, you had your Chahala had Chala in there, but Saturn owners got even a better treat. They had the Red Book audio tracks that could play in a standard CD player, making the game's music a collectible in its own right. As far as the replay value goes, this game was very replayable at this time and day, and while its following the canon was rewarding, players were free to create that alternative matchups and outcomes. You had 35 characters to play with. There was a versus mode so you could play with your friends, and the Gauntlet SP battle was pretty damn good. So to wrap this up before we play a level, my friends, Dragon Ball The Legend isn't the most polished Dragon Ball game. It doesn't have the really tight mechanics that you'll see from a Budokai or Tenkaichi or FighterZ or the sprawl and freedom of those games. But what it had vision. It dared to do something different with Dragon Ball, and it was chaotic. It was fun. Like I said, not to be a broken record, it was my favorite, still my favorite Dragon Ball game of the PlayStation 1 era. And you're about to find out why, because it's time, my friends, to play Dragon Ball The Legend. All right, friends, here we go. As I said, we are going to be doing the Frieza saga. So let's kick this off. And this is what I was talking about when it comes to the story mode presentation. It's just showing you still images, kind of like a slideshow type of presentation, no sound, which is I found kind of strange that they wouldn't have like at least a voiceover to recap what actually is happening here. So I thought that was a little strange choice. Maybe they couldn't fit it on a disc, but it would have gave it a lot more of an authentic presentation if you got that. Dun, 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 dun. My Japanese viewers who watch Dragon Ball on the Japanese version know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's kick this off. It is time for the Frieza saga. And as I said before, I'm going to play this canon-wise. So here comes Vegeta. And unfortunately, you can't face Frieza in all his forms. I don't know why they skipped that. They went straight to the final form, but you do get this really cool presentation right here of him transforming into his final form. That is always like a badass shot. Powers up, lightning, explosion, and now we have final form Frieza. And let's do a simple folks. Let's show you how. I'll tell you how to play. So triangle to charge up your ki, and you're going to use circle to do a lot of the damage here. X is to kind of counter, and as you can see with Vegeta, I'm trying to whip some ass a little bit, because get some hits in for Vegeta here, because he did fight. He fought valiantly against Frieza before we're going to kill Vegeta off, but this is what I'm talking about with the tug-of-war of the power balance meter here. Vegeta is getting his ass kicked. Frieza in this on hard mode was damn near impossible at the time, and I remember just struggling with this, and it got to the point that I got so good at this. My friends used to hate playing me in this because my counters were really good. And now Frieza got his meter up, as you can see, and now he's going to do, I think Frieza has 2 attacks. Some of them had 2 attacks each, depending on what mode what transformation version you have of the character. And they run Vegeta. Damn, down. Alright. Remember, Vegeta's gonna die in this because I want to keep it canon accurate, so I'm not gonna really fight back here. Let's get some commentary here, see if they say anything. Okay, King Kai, Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu, you gonna say something? Or maybe just don't give a damn about Vegeta. Okay, let's go to the other guys. So you see, if you heard Gohan talking, and that's what I was talking about with the spectator mode, is that you get to see their reactions, and that for me is just like such a wow moment for me back in the days for the PlayStation 1, because you got to see their reactions. Look at Gohan's face. Look at Vegeta. Look at Vegeta getting beat. Look at the concerned look on Krillin. Gohan is pissed. And Goku just... There you go. Oh man, I think this is it for Vegeta. Damn. Boom. Vegeta's dead. And now we gotta transform. Now we gotta get Krillin to die so we can get Super Saiyan Goku to unlock it. And it's crazy because a lot of people, you know, for those who played it, it was like, he didn't transform Super. No, you have to have Krillin die in order for him to become Super Saiyan, which is, I thought, even just back then for the PlayStation. Was really good. I just wanted to see if King Kai would say something, but he said something for Krillin, which is cool. And this might be the death of our boy Krillin, folks. But then you'll see me actually play, but I want to show you how this game used to work. And yeah, I will say, folks, that yeah, it did get repetitive at times, but I thought, you know, it was just a chill. And credit to the voice actors too, just giving stellar performances here. Come on, Krillin. Oh, Frieza's too powerful. Damn, Frieza lighting him up. See Goku getting pissed. And I'm hoping, what I'm hoping is that, because sometimes sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. I'm hoping it's Goku when he sees Krillin die, he goes, Krillin! And then they show you he turns in, like, they'll show switch to Super Saiyan. So that's what I'm hoping that happens. But look how cool this is. Look how pissed Goku's getting. Frieza looks like he's low. Oh, come on, Krillin. Oh, man. Alright, folks. Get ready to say goodbye to Krillin. Oh, boy. Bye, Krillin. Right, Piccolo. Damn. Oh well, here we go. There's Super Saiyan Goku. All right, now let's get ready to actually play. I'm gonna end this quick because I never lost a step in this game. But you'll see how much of a beast I am in this. Oh, shit. There we go. Trying to remember my controls. Yep, there we go. Nope. Nope. Yep. Oh, really? Nope. All right, he's out of stamina. He's out of energy. He's pretty much right for the taking. Oh, this Frieza's running. Stay your ass down. This is for Krillin. Got him. Let's go. And I think this one only had, because it's crazy because when he gets to the Cell saga, he has more attacks than Super Saiyan Goku, which is cool. But in this particular saga, he only has the Kamehameha blast, which is cool. Well, you ain't doing that move with me. And the key to this, folks, is I call it the ground and pound. The connect attacks, the more connect you have, the more faster that meter goes. If you just chain it. So I'm trying to do that, but like I said, Frieza's always been tough in this. But see how I'm connecting? That is an easy way to get your meter all the way to the blue side. Also, the keys help too as well. Alright. I think I got probably one more of this, and I think this is going to be done for good. We'll see how this probably plays. Alright. Yeah, one more, I think it's over. Frieza ain't going down. Fight! Alright, Frieza. Yeah, he's getting... Woo! Alright, this is what I remember. He gets desperate. Only thing I wish they did was his, like, full power at 100%, but they didn't. And I think mainly because the Cell Saga was pretty long. For Cell Saga and the Android Saga, they gave, I would say, the most time to. And that is truthfully to me the best saga in Dragon Ball. It's my favorite saga, the Cell and Android Saga. The Cells and Android, I just call it the Android Saga. I know it's the Cell games, but I know. Oh wow, one more. Okay, all right, Frieza. Goodbye. Nope. There we go. Nope. Lay your ass down. Oh, you trying to go back? Yo, what the hell, Goku? I ain't teleport there, sorry. Damn. All right. He ain't going down without a fight, huh? Run now. All right, folks. So this will definitely put the nail in the coffin on Frieza. This is Justin with another episode of Any Gaming. What did you think of Dragon Ball The Legends? Comment below, let me know. If you like what we do here, hopefully we'll earn your subscription. So please hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and the hype button as well. Peace and love to you all, my friends. Later days, I'll be back with another episode soon.